We all have that dreaded middle school photo, tucked away somewhere hopefully far away, right? Well, every time that I run across this photo, take a look, I have to chuckle. I absolutely laugh at this awkward version of myself. And isn't it funny how no matter how much we might have changed on the outside or how much progress we've made in our life, there's a little piece of us that still feels like that awkward old version of ourselves from years ago. Well, what you could not see in the photo is not only my big Coke bottle glasses, but I had a hearing aid in each ear. And they were foam taped to my head so that I could wear the glasses and wear the hearing aids at the same time and be able to move. I am Kimberly Faith, and I was born with a significant hearing loss. And I had to learn how to navigate that hearing loss very early in my life. I went to speech therapy, went to lip reading classes, lots of investment early in my time. And over the years, I learned how to handle it quite well. And the few times that I don't, well, I simply chalk it up to my hair color. Well, what does all of this matter to you? Why is it important? And why should you care? Well, the interesting thing about the hearing loss, what my friends have told me and now business executives across the world have said, is almost like it helped me develop this superpower of being able to hear what people don't say. And I've used that understanding as I've had the privilege to train, coach, and inspire now over 20,000 people across the world. And I've been able to show them this silent language that is at play in all of our lives. And for once, I must confess to you, I was almost delighted because when it finally hit me, you mean I can hear things that others don't? Wow, that was a fun moment for me. Let me share with you about Sara. She had had some tough chapters in her life. She was having a difficult time keeping a steady job, had financial failures, and then had a gentleman enter her life where she was in effect supporting him because he would not pull his weight. Now, Sara had made quite a few changes and success was within sight for the first time for her. It was exciting to watch. She had earned now enough income that it was the best paying job she had had in a decade. She was able to buy her very first home all by herself. And as good as all of this was, I began to notice that there was this unconscious pattern that was beginning to bubble up again in Sara's life. What I had watched with Sara over the years is that she would give away her power, and then she would be resentful for others treating her in the way that she had trained them to treat her. Really? So let me show you how this actually works, okay? So let's just say Sara was an independent contractor working for a company owned by a gentleman by the name of Joe. Joe would reach out to Sara and ask her to help with some projects. She volunteered by herself to do those projects complimentary. She wanted to show her dedication to the company in hopes that he would send her good paying work. Joe was surprised, but he said, okay. Well, then he would send her some good paying work. So that part of her strategy worked. Well, because she was so good at what she did, Joe started reaching out to her for more projects. She kept saying yes. Now, over time, Sara began to feel taken advantage of. She started to have some resentment building up. She started to actually let that resentment show. And the next thing I know, Joe's looking around saying, what's going on with Sara? Completely had no idea what the issue was. And so when I showed this to Sara and I mapped it out, because she was at a dangerous point at that point, because she was getting ready to undo all this work she had done for a successful relationship. And I said, Sara, wait. I want to show you what's playing out in your life, this silent language that's playing in your life that I'm not sure that you're aware of. And I took her through the steps of how it started from when she first offered to give her services complimentary to when she said yes too many times to Joe, that she then was building up this resentment. And if she didn't figure out how to deal with that, the resentment was going to bubble up and tear apart what she had worked so hard to build. And she looked at me and said, do you mean to tell me that I created this situation that I'm in? Yes, Sara, you did. She was stunned, absolutely stunned. But then she was excited because she figured out, you know what? If I created it, then I can work my way out of it. And that is exactly what she did. So we mapped out what her current environment was. We took her through how she could rewrite what was going on in her life. And part of that started with having to define what her boundaries were and then communicating those boundaries. So she went back to Joe and said, Joe, you know what? My schedule has shifted and I have time to assist with 2 of the 4 projects you've asked me about. Which 2 projects do you feel my skills would be most beneficial to help you out? And bam, she started to change right there and then and there. And she told me later that, you know what, from that point on, I never looked back. I never looked back and I realized I can influence my life. I never knew to listen to that language, Kim. Thank you so much for showing me. I'm taking steps every day now to let my brilliance shine. Wow, how powerful that was. You see, my hearing loss started me on this journey, but it's the life-changing results that I see every day. That's what inspires me. When I see these women share with me their stories and then I show them how to listen to what's not being said, and then they take steps to let their brilliance shine, wow, that's what inspires me to grow, to expand my work, and to reach out to you. Learn how to interpret this silent language for yourself and figure out what might be standing in your way. And the reality is I'm not any more intuitive than others. I have a lot of experience and I've invested a lot of hours of my life into this topic. But that's the good news, because I've already done the heavy lifting for you. Join me on this journey of discovery, and I can show you how to cultivate this skill too. If I can bridge the hearing gap, you can bridge the gap between where you are today and where you want to be. Together on this journey, we can figure out how to hear each other and hear ourselves more clearly.